I'm Anne Stonehouse, and I have with me two educators, Janani and Kerry. We're going to have a conversation about some of the issues related to being a professional educator. So, Janani and Kerry, could you just say a little bit more about your experience as a family daycare educator?
Yep, I'm Kerry and I've been working as a family daycare educator for about 3 years now. I have a son of my own, he's 19 months, and I have my Bachelor of Early Childhood teaching degree.
Hi, my name is Janani and I have been a family daycare educator for the last 8 years, and I worked in a centre-based care for nearly 2 years. My highest qualification is advanced diploma, and I'm a mother of 2 teenage children.
Okay. We use the term professional a lot. We talk about being a professional family daycare educator. What does that mean to you?
You have to treat yourself that way, and you have to view yourself that way. We're not just babysitters, we're not just stay-at-home mums, we're educating the future generation, and in so doing I think we have ethical and moral obligations to go along with that too.
Could you say a bit about, maybe give an example of an ethical or moral obligation?
Things like confidentiality, keeping separate files for different children, talking in a professional manner to the parents as well, and also about respecting their differences, differences in their parenting styles, in their backgrounds and their culture.
There are times, being a professional, we may not agree with everything with the parent. There are times we would have different views or different values. Example, it could be a behavior guidance. So we need to be brave enough to explain to the parent about our practice and our policy and how can we work together.
What does intentional teaching then mean to you? What does it mean to work with children in an intentional way?
For me, it's about having purpose, about doing things with a meaning. So knowing what you want to go into with the children, but being flexible enough to change with the children as well.
For me, intentional teaching is something, it can happen any time of the day, but the main focus is when we do intentional teaching, we need to let the child to see it in his perspective, and then we teach them what is this about, how can we go from there.
Absolutely, and I think it can happen quite spontaneously,
spontaneously
too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So do you see a link between the notion of intentionality and critical reflection?
I think you have to critically reflect on what's happened and where that could lead to, and who's been missing out or who's been benefiting from that scenario.
I'm just wondering if either of you would like to say a few words about how you go about planning. As I said, not so much how you write it down, but how you think about it.
First of all, by asking the children, and then having conversations with the parents, and from our observations, how they're exploring the environment. I believe that if something interests us as an educator, and if you want to share it, and we can always put it in the plan, towards the plan as well.
And I think what guides us with that, as well as professionals, is that is the pedagogy behind it all and the theories behind it. So it's not just about offering activities, it's why are we offering those activities and what are the children benefiting from that as well.
What is it, it's probably hard to generalise, but what is it that you enjoy the most, that sort of interests you the most about children's learning in your work?
For me, it's celebrating the children's individuality. Every child has a different personality and has different interests, and being able to support that and encourage and watch them grow from that. I just think it's such an amazing thing. I have a group of girls that are very into dancing, and so I have a selection of costumes. So they put the costumes on and they start to make their own ballet school. So but then they in turn involve the younger boys in their play as well. So the younger boys are now going up, putting on the dresses and going along with that as well, and being involved. And it's such a lovely family environment where they're all just interacting together and learning from each other as well, and teaching each other.
Yeah.
It's the way they explore the environment and creating relationships with one another, and their perspectives about the resources and their play.
I was noticing in your comments there's such pleasure and joy that comes through when you talk about children's learning, and that's that's a really important part of being a professional educator too. Are there particular kinds of experiences that you enjoy offering to children? You as an individual that you particularly love?
For me, it's about being outdoors and teaching children about sustainability, gardening, where the rain comes from, even just laying down on the grass and looking at the clouds. It just opens up a wide variety of experiences for the children. And no matter what the weather is, it's just so great to be outdoors, and the children respond and learn so much from that.
Personally, I like the environment plays a bigger part, and outings mixing with the community and involving with the community with parents. And also, I'm a big fan of promoting sustainability. So most of my resources are upcycle, recycle, or natural materials. So I have a habit of collecting things and creating resources with children.
Where do you get your ideas, and where do you get your support for staying interested, staying excited, staying motivated to keep improving?
For me, it's from the coordination unit. I find they offer a big support, but it's also about looking into and participating in professional development and professional learning training. Other educators are also great to be able to bounce ideas off of, talk about your day, and work as a team.
I do get ideas from coordination unit and visiting other early childhood services. It can be daycare centers or kindergartens, and attending professional development trainings, and also by observing the children, exploring the material. Sometimes I would think, why I didn't think of it? And I looked at it and think, okay, so there's another idea. So next time when I want to extend it, and I can use the idea too. So,
what is it that helps you look beyond the obvious? There's a difference between really deeply paying attention to children and kind of a superficial paying attention to children. What is it that helps you go beyond the obvious, do you think, in what you see?
I think just asking open-ended questions of the children and where they see it going, or what they want to learn more about.
Can you identify something that you think you're really good at, that you do really well?
I think that's a really challenging question to answer, because when we look at our own service, we just see our service as that's what we offer. And it's hard to see it from somebody else's perspective in terms and what other educators are offering their children as well. But personally, I really like setting up little play experiences and play spaces for the children, and using natural resources in that. So I've got some logs that my brother kindly donated to me, Nothing like using families as support. So some natural logs that I set up little activities. So there might be 2 little bowls with a basket full of pine cones next to it, and just allowing the children to explore that. Or recently we've put down a gravel pit, and the children have just taken to that and are just exploring that and love just being in that gravel pit and taking different resources into there and using that in there.
I get ideas or collect resources that can be found easily on outside on a nature strip or at the park, or it could be a junk for someone else. It can be a treasure for me and the children in my care. And I do get ideas while visiting places. I might be in a cafe, I might be in a shopping center, I will see something and I will connect that in a different way to provide it in my, set it up in my environment to, for the children to explore.
I just wonder if you could talk about, assuming that that you both have really positive, strong relationships with the coordinators, what it is that characterises that relationship and what it means to you.
I think originally when I first went into family daycare, I saw them there as someone to come and check me out and make sure that I'm dotting all my I's and crossing all my T's. But as I've progressed in this, and I've just found the coordination unit is there as a wealth of knowledge as well as a support. So if I have any issues or I feel that I need some support in certain areas, I know that they're there. I know they're just a phone call away, and they'll be there to be able to support me in any way that they can.
For me, it's about respect, having the respect each other's perspective. We need to know why the coordination unit is asking or expecting a certain things to do. So we need to meet the national standard, and we need to work towards that regulations and everything. So we need to understand that, and there are times when educators say, oh, it's too hard to do it, or we don't want to work, or coordination unit is expecting more. Then we need to come up with a solution as well, come up with another alternative solution and discuss with the coordination. You have to respect each other and have that open and honest conversation. I can communicate with coordination unit anytime, and I can discuss any issues it concerns me, and they can discuss any issues concerns them. And it can be parents, it can be the families, it can be all the regulations and everything.
I think we're there to support each other, that although we are all running our own business,
we are individuals and we have different values and beliefs and our own personal philosophy, how to run our own service. But what I learn is that because we work alone, having that connection with the co-educators is very important, because there are times you need to have a person to listen to or share ideas and views. We see sometimes because we work alone, we cannot reflect easily. When someone see it in a different way, it's easy. You need to have that communication and the relationship with other educators. We learn from each other. Yeah.
Professional learning or professional development, as it's sometimes called, what role does that play in keeping you motivated and giving you new ideas?
I think they can have a great role in our practice and to keeping us motivated. Getting together with other educators and coordination units and just being boosted, you just get this extra level of energy, and you can go back into your service and go and see it through different eyes. You can you can walk in there and go, oh, so that's what they were talking about, and this is how I can implement it in mine. Because we are very isolated and working by ourselves, you can get stuck in a rut sometimes. And while you can read about things in books or on the internet, I think sometimes just getting together in an environment with other educators it just boosts you.
I know it is hard when you work alone to find the time to attend it, but to serve the community and provide a high quality care, attending professional development trainings are very important. Yeah.
I think focusing on the child as an individual and taking out everything else and just focus on them for 5 minutes. Just look at what they're doing, how they've grown, where they've come from, where they're going to, and focusing on the child, and then putting everything else into that. I think that keeps me inspired and motivated.
For me, the children's families, when they provide feedback or when they participate in the program, and it keeps me inspired and motivated and share their knowledge and skills in the program. And then the coordination unit during the fieldwork visits, their feedback, it keeps me inspired.
Certainly in the conversation you've demonstrated that being a professional family daycare educator is very, very complex, requires a lot of deep thinking, requires openness to new learning, and requires support. And I also think in our conversation that we talked a lot about that support comes both from other educators as well as from coordinators, as well as from participating in professional learning of all kinds, including using the internet, going to conferences, and everything in between. So being a professional family daycare educator, as we said in the beginning, is complex. It's got many different dimensions. It seems to me, if I could sum up all the wonderful things you've said, that what comes through to me is that it's a balance of being always open to learning new things and to changing and to improving. It's about really, really focusing on children in a very deep and meaningful way. It's about taking very seriously your professional relationships with families. And it's about being aware of and valuing, being proud of what you do well. So thank you very much for sharing your ideas.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Anne.
you for having me.
What does being a professional educator mean to you? What is it about children's learning that interests you the most? What do you do well, and what are areas where you can improve?